Okay guys, hopefully you're doing the multiplying and dividing pretty well. Adding, subtracting are tougher. Bottom line, you need to practice this a lot. And part of it, as you'll see, is you got to make sure you're getting better with your factoring. But anyways, let's get started here. So, see, the first thing we got to do to handle this, guys, see how the denominators are different. So I got to factor the denominators. 5, of course, I can't factor, but this right here, I can do an X on it. I need a 2 for my product. I need a -3 for my sum. So that would be what? -1 times -2, right? -1 plus -2 is -3. So, I now know that this right here is really k minus 1, k minus 2. Now what? Well, you're going to take all the factored pieces and put them together to make a common denominator. So this one here had a 5. This one here had a k minus 1 and a k minus 2. This is your common denominator. So now what? Well, we are going to times both of these parts by that common denominator. Again, okay, so guys, you have to be careful. As you can see, this can get a little messy here, and I want to fit this all one screen so you can see how everything happens. But anyways, what was my first step again? I factored everything I could. Step 2 was I put together in the denominators all the factors together to make a common denominator. Now I'm going to times both of the parts here, both of the fractions, by a common denominator. Now watch what happens right over here. Follow the purple. The 5s cancel out. I'm left with 3k times k minus 1 times k minus 2. There's a minus right there. We have to be aware of that. Now, guys, look at the right fraction here, or rational expression if you want to call it. Notice the k minus 1s cancel out. The k minus 2s cancel out. All I have is 5 times this. So, all I have is 5k plus 5, right? Now, there's a minus here, though, so we got to distribute that minus. Like so. Okay, so I distribute the minus, so 5k and 5 are both now minus. What's next is we've got to distribute and put all of that there together. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Let's see what we get here. So this is going to take a little work on my part. Okay, I paused the video obviously to clean up the screen here a little bit. So here we go. 3k, I'm going to distribute that first. So I have 3k squared minus 3k. I still need to times it by k minus 2. Some of you may want to do the area model, but I'm just going to do the arrows here, guys. So I get 3k cubed minus 6k squared minus 3k squared plus 6k. Wow. I still have right here a minus 5k and a minus 5 over my common denominator 5, k minus 1, k minus 2. You may want to pause, guys, just to kind of make sense on what I did here. Okay, so here's my final answer, guys. It's 3k to the 3. Right here, it looks like I have 2k squared. So that's minus 9k squared. Right here, I have a plus k minus 5 over my denominator, which is 5, k minus 1, k minus 2. Now, I'm going to hope and pray I didn't make any silly mistakes in there. But the gist of my work is what you need to do, guys. Okay? Let's do another one from scratch. What's the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to factor everything. That right there doesn't need to be factored, but this right here, I can do a GCF of 4n. Let me just double check that. 4n squared minus 20n. So guys, my common denominator is going to be 4n, n plus 1, n minus 5. The order here doesn't really matter, guys. Commutative property means you can change the order. But see how I took all the different factored parts of my denominators to put them together to find a common denominator. Now, the next thing we're going to do is times both of these parts by the common denominator. Again, guys, this can get a little messy, so you have to be careful. So anyways, I notice, for example, look, I'll go purple here first. Notice the n plus 1's cancel out, and what I'm left with is 8n. 2 times 4 is n, 8n, right? Times n minus 5. There is a minus we have to be careful of. Now, in green, guys, here, this actually is already factored here, right? So notice here, the 4n's cancel out, and the n minus 5's cancel out. All I'm left with is 2n times n plus 1. Okay, so 2n times n plus 1. All right, now let's see what we get here. Okay, so let's do some distributive property right here. 8n squared minus 40n. Let's distribute the minus 2n here. Minus 2n squared minus 2n. Watch those signs. Over our common denominator. Okay. So now I know that 8n squared minus 2n squared is 6n squared. I have a minus 42n over 4n, n plus 1, n minus 5. Now, normally we'd be done, but guess what, guys? You got to check to see if your answer is simplified. Notice, guys, that this, and this are all even numbers, right? So, let's reduce by 2. That becomes a 3. That becomes a 2. That becomes a 21. Did you also notice that and that all have an n in them? So I can cross out these n's, divide by n's. N squared divided by n is 1n. So when all is said and done, guys, my answer is 3n minus 21 over 2n plus 1, n minus 5. Wow, these are tough, aren't they? All right, let's take a look at another one. It'll be the last one for this video. What's my first step, guys? Make sure everything is factored. That's already factored. That, I can do a GCF of 2. So I get 2n plus 3 there, right? And this time I remember, you got to cross that out because you already have it factored here. Now, guys, what is our common denominator going to be? It's going to be a 2, m minus 2. I'm just taking all my individual factored pieces, and m plus 3. See how I took all 3 of the different unique pieces there? Now, The next step is we're going to times by this common denominator. Okay, so notice, guys, if you look, follow my loop here. M minus 2's cancel out. I'm left with a 3 times 2, which is 6. M plus 3 times M plus 3. We're going to distribute here in a little while. Okay, there is a minus we have to be careful of. Now look at the second fraction here, guys. I just looped it in green. Notice the 2 cancels out. The M plus 3 cancels out. I'm just left with 6M times M minus 2. Okay, so let's do some distributive property here. 6M plus 18. Let's distribute the minus 6M here. Minus 6M squared plus 12M minus 6 times minus 2 is plus 12M, right? That, of course, is all over our common denominator. Finally, let's put together like terms here. So I have a minus 6M squared. 6 and 12 is 18M plus 18 all over our common denominator here. Again, guys, normally we're done, but look at the coefficients. See how all the numbers can be divided by 2? So I'm going to distribute a divide 2 here. So that divided by 2 goes a 1. That becomes a 3. That becomes, divided by 2 is 9. That becomes 9. So my final answer is negative 3M squared plus 9M plus 9 over M minus 2 M plus 3. Sometimes these values up here may be in a different order, guys. You have to be careful of that. But I'm pretty sure I have that one done correctly. Please let me know if I made a mistake, though. Just send me a message. But guys, that's how you do these. You find a common, you first factor all the denominators. Second thing you do is put all those pieces of the denominators together to make one common denominator. You times all the numerators by that common denominator. You know, do your simplifying, distributive property, combining like terms. No way around it, guys. These problems suck. Only way to get good at them is you got to practice them. See you around.